The Real Estate Show. Welcome to The Real Estate Show. My name is Rick Naples. One of the biggest decisions that a realtor has to make once they've acquired a home for sale, a listing, is how do they reach the maximum number of qualified buyers for that property. I mean, you need somebody that is ready, willing, and able to go through the whole transaction process in purchasing that home, closing on it, and taking ownership. Now, there's a lot of different ways of doing that. And as I've explained on previous real estate shows, realtors are business people. And anything that they do at their own expense and their own risk during the time that they're doing it. And what I mean by that is they are not compensated. They don't earn any money. They don't earn that commission until they've accomplished the job they were hired to do. And that's either finding someone a home that they purchase and closing on it, or listing a home that somebody's looking to sell and bringing in that buyer that goes through the process and the home closes. So they have the experience of knowing, as business people, as anyone that owns a business learns over the time that they're in that business, what works, what doesn't work, what gets the biggest return or the most possibilities as far as being able to accomplish the goal that they need to accomplish, and that is getting the seller's home sold. So on this show, we're going to take a quick look at marketing. How do you market a home? What is available out there to reach the number of buyers that may make an offer that's acceptable so that home can become a successful. When a home gets put on the market, the decision that has to be made is how do you reach qualified buyers? I mean, what is the first thing that you do? Realtors have a tool that's available to them. It's called the multiple listing service. And what this is a database that realtors subscribe to that lets them put in all the data information on a home that they've listed for sale. It also allows them to upload photographs, disclosures, and any other things that might help in the sale of that home. Now, the important thing about the multiple listing service, it's a database that a lot of websites feed off of. And what I mean by that is once the realtor puts the information into the multiple listing service, that's going to feed out to other websites that have data sharing agreements with that listing service. So that's why a lot of times you'll see a home that gets listed for sale and it will appear on major websites across the board. You'll see it on the Zillow sites and the Trulia sites. There's also what's called IDX sharing, and what that is basically is that all the websites out there have the ability of sharing that information off the MLS. So a realtor can belong to one real estate agency, put the information of the home they've listed into the multiple listing service, and that information will feed out to all the other real estate agency sites. So in other words, I could be a Vision real estate agent, get a listing, put it into the multiple listing service, and my listing with the contact information will appear on a William Ravis website, or it will appear on a Berkshire Hathaway website, or a Remax website, or a Coldwell Banker website, or a Century 21 website. It will appear on all those other websites. And the same thing with the listings that those companies get. Those listings will also be shared and appear on other websites. So that's why the consumer is able to go to a website search engine, put in the area that they're looking to find, and they will find that listing just about anywhere. There's also, when it comes to website information, some other sites that do what's called scraping. Scraping is where they do physical research and they find listings and they take that data information and they put it on their website. The only caution with that, and a lot of realtors have experienced this, is they find that sometimes there's a very little known website out there that's marketing properties where the data didn't transfer exactly. I've actually had clients contact me as a realtor when I've listed a home and said, I saw my home on such and such a site and it's the wrong price, or it says it has this and it doesn't. So a lot of times the realtor doesn't have control of that, but you do have to be aware that it is a marketing method or a tool that realtors are going to use. Now, besides the multiple listing service, there are other ways that a realtor or even an individual may choose to market or reach out to buyers that are looking for homes. Some are the modern methods and some are the traditional methods. Let's take a look at this presentation, and when I come back, I'm going to talk about the modern methods in marketing a home. We're all familiar with what's called social media. Everybody knows about social media. If you have any teenagers in the house, you're very aware about social media. But the nice thing about social media is it's a way to reach a multitude of people quickly and easily with a lot of information. And of course, when people hear social media, the first thing that comes to mind is something like, say, Facebook. Facebook is a very common tool that realtors or individuals will use to post pictures of their home for sale and get that information out and share it with other Facebook members. And the idea is to try to reach out to as many people as possible to get that information out to them. There are other media methods that realtors will use that will also market the home. We do see some realtors that belong to things like Twitter. What I meant to say was Twitter, where they'll tweet information out, and they may have followers. They can reach out to those folks that maybe they know someone that's interested in the home. We've seen uses of sites like Instagram. I've even seen houses posted on Pinterest and other sites like that. There's a lot of sharing type websites. Some realtors will create a website with a link specifically to the home that's for sale, and they'll advertise that link so that hopefully buyers will go specifically to that. You have realtors like myself that are a little bit more creative that may use television advertising, like the real estate show, to get information out about a house that's for sale. You may find realtors that do things as far as more traditional items, where they'll do newspaper ads or they'll do postcard mailers to the neighborhood. Some will get involved with flyers. And you even see some creativeness as far as trying to attract attention to the home. The goal is, as I've said, is to reach as many potential buyers as possible. But rather than blanketing the whole area and just throwing information out there as a hit or a miss, how do you focus in on just the people that are in the market for that specific home? There's an interesting technique that realtors use to do that, and I'll share that with you right after this. I had mentioned earlier in the show about the multiple listing service, and one of the tools that's offered in the MLS to realtors that belong to it is a thing that's called reverse prospecting. And one of the things that does is when I'm representing a buyer, okay, somebody has come to me and they're looking to purchase a home. One of the things that I do as a service is I will go into the multiple listing service and I'll put in the parameters of what that particular buyer is looking for. Number of bedrooms, location, price range, and so on and so forth. And I will set up what's called an auto notification. This is a notification where, with the person's email, when a realtor lists a home and they enter that data into the MLS, that data can directly be emailed to that specific buyer of a home that they might be interested in. Now, having said that, one of the things that is a tool that's used in the multiple listing service is what's called, as I said, reverse prospecting. And what that is, folks, is that all of the realtors that are working with buyers that have set up those searches, they have entered those into their multiple listing databases so that those buyers are receiving homes that are listed that fit within what they're looking for. By setting up this particular tool, the realtor is able to add into those emails, even though those clients are not their clients, their particular listing and what their listing has to offer. So they're reaching out directly to buyers that are looking specifically in that area and price range for that home. In other words, they're hedging the odds a little bit of finding that ready, willing, and able buyer to purchase that home. Let's sit back and take a look at this, and I want to talk a little bit about the traditional advertising methods. Traditionally, or what was done in the old days, and is still done today, you see it every day. You open up a newspaper or some kind of print advertising, whether it would be a local magazine on homes for sale, a sponsored magazine by a specific agency, a free newspaper, or a newspaper you're purchasing, you're going to find the real estate section. And the idea of that is to be able to post the information of a home that's for sale, the description of the home, its price range, and the contact information, so that if a buyer is specifically looking at that print advertising, they can see a home that might fit their needs and make a phone call and inquire for it. The issue with the traditional advertising is that it reaches a limited amount of people. It has to be subscribers to that particular print advertising or someone that's picked up that magazine that's interested specifically in something that's in that print advertising. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, but it's not the most effective way of reaching a lot of people specifically drawn to listings. The other way of doing it is you list a home in a specific area and you do a direct mailer. This is where you create a postcard or a flyer or an informational sheet, and that is physically mailed out through the U.S. mails to all the neighbors on the street, or maybe a whole neighborhood or a whole zip code area, in order to try and reach out. Because usually when a home goes up for sale in an area, you hope that there's somebody living in that neighborhood that knows someone that wants to move into that neighborhood. And you may be able to reach out for that. So that's another traditional marketing. There's also, as I've mentioned many times here on the Real Estate Show, the technique of the open house. That's where you open the house up for anyone to come and take a look at it, and it's hit or miss. You hope that the folks coming to look at it are actually people who are interested in buying that property. And then there's other methods that you can use. Do they work? Well, the jury is still out on those. With the onset of the internet and the more modern ways of reaching more people, those methods don't work the way they used to. Let's sit back and watch this short presentation, and I'll be back with my comments on the real estate mailbag. This is the portion of the show I call the Real Estate Mailbag. My opportunity to reach out to those folks that have emailed me here at the Real Estate Show or ask me questions when I'm out and about in the public. And the email that came in was, how do I not waste my time showing my home to people that are not interested in buying it? Well, as I alluded to earlier, if you do general type advertising, you throw an ad in the newspaper or you do an open house or things along the traditional methods of marketing, you're going to get a wide array of people that aren't necessarily in the position to purchase the home. They may just be coming out to look. I've told stories in some of the seminars that I've done in the past about open houses where you get a bunch of people and they're nothing more than the neighbors just coming in because they're curious to see what the neighbor's house looks like or what the neighbor had for furniture or other information that may not be necessarily to find someone that's looking to purchase that home. You want to try to target those buyers that are ready, willing, and able. And what I mean by that, people in that price range, they've already gone through their mortgage qualifications, they have their steps in place in order to purchase a home. That's the person that you want to try to attract. And you do that, as I said earlier, by targeting people that are looking in that area for that particular price range through the methods that realtors have available. My name is Rick Naples, and this has been the Real Estate Show. I thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.